Welcome to our time today. Today, I'm going to dig in. Something came to me immediately as I was about to start talking to you, and there's this thought. It's a thought about how my family truly operates language we actually use in our household. And here is the language to lead this bad boy conversation off. Here's what we tell our family. Truxes don't show up. Truxes show out. And if we're going to show up and show out, we must show up every day to our lives, the weight room, the food, all that. You'd be surprised. Our family does cold plunges in our pool in the backyard. Like, we get down. And I want to give this as a thought to you, because this year you cannot just show up. You got to show out. Like, there's people that love you, that look up to you, that you are serving and showing up for, that need you to not just show up to life this year, but to show up and show out. So have that as an anchor as we kind of have this conversation. But with all the amazing things I could talk about, the idea today is like how to win the year. And it took me immediately back to this helmet you see in the background, because I used to play professional football, played college football, and winning was a thing. Like, a humongous part of my entire world was, well, how do you win? And so I was like, what if we frame this today in the stance of like, it's a game, like a game, right, for the year. And so I said, I'm going to break this thing up. I quite literally have notes broken down of pregame, first quarter, second quarter, halftime. Relax. Bring it back second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, then overtime. We're going to talk through this today in that kind of manner. So if you're a football fan, awesome. If you're not, catch up, because I am. And if you love any sport, understand the concept of pregame quarters, you got it dialed. So let's start this whole thing with this idea of what January is in the game, the whole flow. And what I think January is, it's pregame sometimes. Right? As much as we want to think about like I'm hitting the ground running in January, typically it's that window of time post that weird like bubble, like Christmas and New Year's, and no one knows what to do with themselves. We just sit around like, I'm going to get things done. And all you do is drink and eat more. And you just hang out, right? Then the new year hits and we go, I'm going to get going. But it's usually a good time to think about what I'm going to do in the year. Now, we're doing this now. Some of you have sat down and figured out goals and aspirations, what's it created, right? And it's that really good time. And so when I think about pregame, here's what I want you to talk about and think about realistically as we go forward into this. When we go into pregame as a team, what do we have? Like, what do we actually have? And the way I look at it is, well, first, I have a team, right? That's the first part to think about. If you're going to win a game, you got a team. So genuinely, you should take notes on this, by the way, and take them in the GrowthDay app, because, hey, it's all there. You are the head coach. Let's put it that way. You're the head coach of the team of your life. And now every team that I've been on has different positions. We have coordinators, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, assistant coaches. We also have the team, the people that are on the field doing things with us. And a lot of us, we go, I'm going to go out and do this thing. And I believe I'm going to do it solo, self-made. And I have never won anything of great meaning in my life alone. Ever. I have an amazing team. I have an amazing family. And so here's how I want you to think about where people fit. You are the head coach. You have, we call an offensive coordinator. This is going to be, if you have a business, you have someone in your family, it's going to be the person that is helping you go get the things that you want in life, right? I'm serious. This is going to be, could be your spouse, could be a colleague at work, could be your boss, it could be anything. But think about the person who, when you go and I want to go on the offensive this year, who is the person there helping you coordinate that? It could be a mentor, could be a coach, right? These are different people, but who's helped me go and take on and score points in this game of life this year? The other defensive coordinator is the key one. Who do I have in my background, in my corner, when things go wrong and I got to step back up? Because you know as well as I do, in the middle of the game, not every play goes my way, which means in the middle of those moments, who do I have to lean on? Because when we get into the space of having nobody, I'll pull back. And what ends up happening is I get tucked in that echo chamber of my head where I don't want to know or anybody to know what's going on. And I feel like I'm siloed, and I'm BRENDON calls it the caged life, right? I get to that point of pulling back. You cannot get there. You have to start the year with someone you reach out to and go, hey, when I have this year going on, if things go awkward or crazy, I want to be able to lean on you. Can you be that? Just to be a person of vent to, right? So you have to have these people. Now, you also have essentially the assistant coaches, people that are around assisting the team, assisting the offensive and defensive coordinator. These are going to be friends, colleagues. Again, it's other people. Could be your kids, could be cousins. Doesn't matter who it is. It's people that are out there helping you, but they're not in the trenches with you. Key differentiation is they're not in the trenches with you. These are people that are all the outside support. It could be your CPA, your accountant, could be a personal trainer, right? These are people helping the team win, you being the team. The last portion are the people on the field. Who are the ones in the trenches with you? This is going to be clients you might work with. This is going to be people that are direct mentors and coaches helping you do the business. It could be, if it's not a business, it could just be colleagues that are, coworkers at work. Who is on the field with you getting things done? It's a humongous piece of the puzzle. So this little simple thing, I don't think we always think about. Like, I have all these people in my life currently, and it's a beautiful thing because my life has run smooth because of this. But as we start the planning process, put these human beings in place in your life. Now, also for pregame, a couple of things we do is we have to determine what is a win. Now, we'll call it goal setting for now, right? But goal setting is a little bit different from the way I frame this. When I look at my life, there are goals, right? But it may not be the goal to say my goal of this game was to score 50 points on this team, right? Whatever it might be. Winning the game is still a win. It may not be that big, humongous thing we wanted, but it's still a win. So determine for yourself what's a win so everyone is on the same page, so we're all pulling in the same direction. The worst thing would be for the offensive and defensive coordinator to be on different pages. Hard to win a game that way, right? People in the trenches not knowing the direction we're going, hard to win a game that way. The idea is, what is a win to you? And it's your win, not what the world would respect, not what anybody else would deem a great thing, because sometimes people have visions that aren't your own. And when you try to fight for their vision, you don't feel like it's a good thing and you don't even enjoy the process, right? So figure out what's a win in your book. Huge. Now, the next thing, solidify the game plan. Before we go into the game in first quarter, I got to have a game plan. And when I talk about a game plan, I don't simply mean what's the game plan, bigger picture to win the game. Here's what you got to think about. I played football, which means we have individual plays. Individual plays for me in this world is a single day. What does your day look like? Like, what is the day you're going to go and play, right? I'm not talking about the big picture. We can have a big picture vision of what a win is, but now bring that back to what does my day look like? You should get yourself a high performance planner, take the whole quiz inside there, go through the whole process, right? If you need to, but know what your day looks like, because that's what we're going to track and adjust. It's hard to look at an entire week or an entire month as we go forward, but you've got to go, here is my game plan for a day. And the things within this day are leading us to get to the place where we have already deemed a win will be. Big piece. Now, what most people don't do, they give deadlines. And I like deadlines. I mean, it's no big deal to have a deadline, but I like action days. I want to start. So what you've got to do when it comes to again, this is pregame. When will I start the game? When's kickoff time? What does that day look like? And I'm serious, plan that day, because I want you to have control of the day, not fall into the day for some random reason, which means, when am I getting up? What's my routine look like that day? What am I doing? So that you can close the day and go, I won that play. Hey, that was a win for that play. Got it done. Feel good. We're moving the right direction. I may not have got 15 yards, but I got 5. I'm moving, right? That's the idea, is can we set that plan up and move forward with it? The situation of confidence is an up and down. It's a bubble. It's an up and down bubble. Sometimes it bursts. Sometimes it's big. Sometimes it's small. But the truth of the matter is it's a matter of how you choose to see it in the moments. And if you are more cognitively aware of how your brain processes, I promise you can get better control of it. And you can understand how to control it in a way that allows you to actually utilize it. This is what's called the self-mastery sequence. And this is a sequence of how our brain, honestly processes all throughout the day. What I want to do is teach you how, if you see the flow of this, you can actually control it in a way that allows you to have a better base and gauge on moments that are difficult, and how you can do the hard things when you need to then spin things up the right way. So at the very top of this is going to be what I call identity anchors. So what this is, I'm a guy that operates in identity. I want to get to the point where the things that are difficult, I do like their second nature. I call it rhythm. It's more of think about the daily operational rhythm. And I don't mean your routines. I mean the rhythm of how you flow. Now, we have a certain level of confidence, but there are certain moments that press and test this confidence. So it becomes difficult for us to press in the next tier, right? So at the very top, what ends up happening is you currently have an identity. If I asked you, hey, who are you? You tell me something. And you go to a part of your brain that says, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a parent, I'm a brother, sister, cousin, I'm a manager, I'm a CEO, whatever it is. There's a part of you that says, this is who I am, right? It's built around confidence, usually from your past success. Now, there's also things you don't have confidence in. Part of those anchors may be hey, I'm not the greatest reader. I'm not the greatest writer. I'm not the greatest X, Y, or Z. And you've also created an identity around that. You've actually spoken things into existence in ways that probably shouldn't be, because the reality is when you speak something into existence, you will live in a way to make that right. right? So your identity is what you have in place. Now, this leads to the next piece, which goes to the right. And this is what we call our beliefs. Now, based on your identity, you have certain beliefs that are in line with this, and you operate from them daily without even realizing it. These beliefs were put in place a long time ago. There's a lot of different studies on this, but Eric Erickson has a study and a kind of a structure of the psychosocial aspects. And what he looks at is there's an area between like the age of like 18 to 21 where we have this issue between our role and our identity. It's actually called identity versus role confusion. And what ends up happening is you know who you are, but now your role in society becomes a little bit, kind of distant because you're entering it now as an adult, right? I'm a kid, hang my parents, and all of a sudden I know who I am. Then I'm thrust into this world where like I now have to operate as an autonomous human by myself, and I don't know who I am or where I fit and how this works. And what's crazy is we've already entered that world with certain beliefs based on who we are. Right. So this belief system, if I don't have a belief that I'm capable, that I'm strong, if I kick my kids out of the house at 18 and I haven't helped them have an identity of strong, confident, powerful, whatever it is, they'll go into that world with an identity that's weak and they'll be confused as they look at the world. And the problem is if nobody goes at any point in time and adjusts this or grows, growth day, right? I end up living this cycle the rest of my life. So you got to take a look at what are the beliefs that I have, the belief systems I have in place. And you have to actually take a look at what are they? What do you believe is possible for yourself or impossible for yourself? Now, beliefs go to another piece, which is very interesting. And we have these all the time. These are called our thoughts. And these bad boys run. They're always running. Mine are running right now because I can't see your faces. My thought is like, do they like this? Is this any good? I don't know. I'm talking really loud in my microphone. I hope they like it, right? There's a thought going all the time, right? And you guys have also the same kind of thoughts. There's conscious and subconscious thoughts. And these root from the beliefs. If we have a belief system that's out of whack and not controlled, we'll have thoughts that put us into depression, that put us in anxiety, they just take off and we can't control them. And you just because it's rooted in some belief system that I believe is who I am and I can't adjust it, right? So beliefs go to thoughts. Now thoughts, they create something unique that I wish we could control, but we can't always control it. And this is the area of emotions. Now, emotions are very interesting because they happen. Like we have them. My wife has them and I can't control them. If anybody's married, it's hard to control the emotion of other human that's in your house. And I just have to control my emotions when she has her emotions in place doing her thing. And you get that if you're in a relationship or ever have been and you're human, you probably have, but you know what I mean, right? And what happens is unique in the area of when I have these thoughts, they feed and fuel my emotions. For example, if I'm in a situation where somebody cuts me off in a car, right, and I'm just driving, my thought is they don't like me, what bad people, my emotions get enraged and I freak out. These people, how can they cut me off, right? But what if I have a thought in my head that says they might be in a rush to get to somebody who needs help? Different kind of emotion that would come from that thought, right? It's a complete different thing. And so what happens is if we have control of our thoughts a little bit more, we can actually have control of our emotions. And what happens from the emotions, these emotions lead to our actions. And the actions are interesting. So what happens here is I have found that whenever we have these moments in our life, typically our emotions fuel the actions and actions are driven by the emotional aspect of how we feel in the moment. If I feel amazing, I'll take a bold, powerful, amazing action. If I don't, if I believe I'm not smart and I tell myself I'm not smart, my emotions are like, a little detrimental, like I feel bad. And then I take kind of a halfway action. This happens for us in life consistently. The emotions fuel the actions and we all live in actions. Like no matter what it is, you have taken the action to be here right now, to hang out with me and Brendan and the rest of the crew. This is an action for improvement, right? You had an identity that said, look, I know who I am, but I want to be better. I believe I can be better. My thoughts are like, I'm going to go and take an advantage of this opportunity to actually be part of Growth Day. My emotions are like, yeah, I can't wait to get there. The action I took after that was like, let's do it. And I'm here, right? Your outcomes are the results of the actions you took based on the emotions, from the thoughts, from the beliefs, from the identity, right? And the outcomes could be good, could be bad, no matter what they are the result of the action you took. So if you take a great, amazing, bold action, great, amazing outcome, right? If you take a crappy, halfway action, usually crappy, halfway outcome. So if you're like, I tried to do it, Anthony, I really tried really hard to eat healthy. Well, did you really, right? Because at the end of the day, if you took the action properly, bold, strong, with discipline dialed in, the outcome is you're in better shape. If you kind of little bit do it, I cheat and I binge eat at 12 o'clock at night, well, the outcome's not going to be what you want it to be. If you kind of read the book, but you don't, really take the action of reading deeply and really understanding it, the outcome is, I don't know the information, right? Maybe you kind of decide to launch your podcast, a little bit of action, or you really do launch that, right? There's a lot of different areas where people don't realize an action has levels. You can boldly go and do that thing at beyond the space of what feels comfortable and have an amazing outcome, or have a halfway outcome. Now, the outcomes lead to something special and unique, which really is unique. It's going to be your environment. This is going to be internal and external. Now, the reason we have both of these because they give us feedback that lead over to our identity. And here's why. Whenever I look at the aspect of like my internal environment, if I have an amazing, powerful action I take, and then the outcome is amazing and powerful, my internal environment is like, oh, man, I feel great. Look at me. I'm cool. I'm doing great, right? If I take an action that's halfway and the outcome's halfway, well, then my internal environment's like, oh, man, that feels bad. Right. And on top of that, I create an external environment, right? If I'm joyous and happy and in a great mood, my external environment is I got great friends, part of a great community like GrowthDay. I get to go do cool, amazing things, right? And at the same capacity, maybe I make more money. Maybe I have more time, and maybe I have a better house and I take more trips, right? My external environment is better because of the action I took that had a better outcome, that it gives me a different environment of how I feel inside and what I see outside. And what you have environmentally, it creates your anchors. I love the concept of leadership, and I'm going to unpack for you, like I always do, my weird random thoughts that have a direction that hopefully you can grab a nugget from and do something cool with. And so leadership, I'm going to change it because my words shift. So I said, I'm going to call it leadership. You get it? Leadership. That's my jokey sound right there. That's my jokey sound. So I want to talk about leadership because my big thing is shifting. And I want to think about shifting perspectives, right? Shifting the way we see things, hear things, experience things, because I think that's how life changes. I think we have those moments in time where we are at some way, in some moment, presently aware of how we're doing things or how we are acting or how we're operating. And when met with that moment, we go, ooh, it's time to change something. It's time for something to shift and something to adjust. So now I'm going to tell you briefly my story if you have never heard it before. I got to a point in my life where I'd gone through a whole lot. I went through foster care as a kid. I had this weird diversity issue of growing up in an all-white family, not really feeling anchored anywhere. And at that time, I felt like a leaf in the wind. I didn't do a great job of leading myself, to be quite honest. And so I kind of was just ending up in the direction of leading towards being a statistic of foster care, which is not very good statistics. They're kind of difficult. They're not that great. Anyway, so there's that part of my life. And then I go from that point where I'm stepping into the stage of, all right, well, now I'm this foster kid who's now adopted, and I got to go into this realm of being the adopted kid. How do I show up here? And I kind of was just still a leaf in the wind trying to figure things out. And I had a moment where I decided to take some kind of control of myself, and it helped me get better at the game of football. But I really only applied it to football because, well, I was 15 years old. What were you doing at 15 years old? You weren't trying to change your life. Neither was I. I want to get better at football. So I applied it there. Progressed to the next stages of my life. I went to college football, had a great opportunity to play at a high level. And then I had a kid. And then it gets different. Because if any of you guys are parents out there, when you have a kid, it's a different dynamic of like, oh, there's somebody else in my world that like, if I don't take care of them, they die. Like I kind of got to lead them in a direction because you got to eat. They got to not fall off things. Anyways, it's kids. I'm a parent now, right? And then I go to the next stage of like, I'm trying to lead at one point, not just my kid, but I was the senior on the football team. I had 19 linebackers. I don't know how it worked out, but most years there's always multiple seniors. My senior year in college, there were 20 linebackers. It was just me leading all these punk little kids, man. The little kids back. We were all little kids, but they didn't listen. They didn't show up on time. And the coach left it on me because what you do as a senior linebacker, you make sure your unit is strong. Same for the family, same for everything. Same for the business you have, doesn't matter what it is. And I'm going to guide you through these things so you get it. And I'll come back to them as we kind of unpack today. Then from there, I progress on to leaving college and I go to the NFL. And the NFL is an interesting monster because quite literally how you lead yourself is what matters. If you show up in the NFL and think it's college, you'll fall apart because college is a place they kind of can't get rid of you. They gave you a scholarship as long as you don't, fail out of school. Like they got to keep paying for your school. You're there. NFL, they can literally sign you right now, have a contract that says you get $150 million a game and they can take it from you, have you sign it, bring it back here. They could tear it up in front of you and there's nothing that they can do about it. Like I can't do any unless there's guaranteed money, right? So the thing is, you have to lead yourself in a vastly different manner every single day, day in, day out, at disgustingly consistent levels to simply be able to keep your job, right? The way you lead yourself matters there. And then how you lead yourself with this unit and become part of this team, it matters. Again, progress past the NFL because it stands for not for long. You get in, you get hurt, you go home. And I went home. And so when I came home, I fell out of all sorts. I lost a very anchored part of my identity. Anytime You've been doing something for a long period of time, and you can attest to this. Think about that thing you did for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, no matter how many years you did it. And whether by choice or by chance, someday you woke up and you were not doing that thing anymore. This could have been the kids went to college, so you're an empty nester. It could have been you changed jobs, so you left this old area, went to a new area, and you don't really have a sense of confidence there. Maybe you decided to open a business, you went in a new direction somewhere. Maybe it was, something where it was by chance. You got hurt, left the military. Like I got hurt in college, NFL, and left the game of football, right? Chance or by choice, you're not doing it. You are met with the reality that you don't feel as confident as you did. Because now I don't have this thing to lean on. And so we're thrust back into this new world of like, how do I show up in a certain way? How do I get this next level of my life met? And this is, again, leadership type stuff, leader shifts. I got to a point where, to be quite honest, my life kind of came tumbling down. Everything that was Anthony came falling apart. And for a lot of years ended up in a fog. And I was no way leading my life properly. And then I got to January 1st, 2016. And in those moments, man, I woke up. It was New Year's Day. And I was laying next to, we're going to be honest in here. I don't always do these and share with you guys, but I'm going to be transparently honest. I might have told you, I might not have. I have no idea. But I got to this point where I woke up and I was laying next to a strange woman. I was divorced. Not she was strange. Like, wasn't like one that like I really was like in deep conversation, relationship with, just a woman that was there. I went in the bathroom and I looked in the mirror. And we had like, it's New Year's Eve. So you drink a little bit, you smoke some hookah and stuff. And I remember just waking up and having this incredibly deep level of shame. Like this man looking back at me, I did not have respect for, I didn't like, I would never, and I'd say this all the time, it was someone that I would not want my daughter to be with, anybody like me. I would not want my boys to be like me. My mom would never approve, and my God would never let me into heaven. I'd fallen so far from my faith in the middle of that. I was completely away from the place of leading myself and having the ability to lead other people. I was off in a wash. Now, I understand you are probably not in this place. To be quite honest, you're probably not. But I'll say this, sometimes we don't realize that we're in the middle of a tornado because you're in the eye of the tornado. You're around messing things up. You're blasting through things all day long, but the eye of the tornado feels calm. It's calm, I'm cool, collected, but you don't realize the damage you're doing to people outside because you just don't pay attention to it. It's a statement that I love. I recently heard, and it goes, it is hard to see the label when you are inside the jar. Sometimes we're unaware. So it's the truth. We got these things going on. So ideas like, okay, how do I get to the point of seeing this label and making adjustments? Well, I finally saw my label. I didn't like the label, and I had to lean into a space of saying, man, I want to fix my life. I'd made 2 promises to my mom that 1, I would fix my life. 2, I would help other people do the same at some point in time. Now, the first one, it's not so fun at all. The first one was I had to confess. Confess is the acceptance point. It's essentially saying, look, I am not perfect. How many people do you know that have said like, oh, I'm not perfect, but the moment that you point something out that's not perfect, they shut down. The moment you do, like, I'm not perfect. Okay, then, hey, Shirley, then why is it you can't figure out how to get the right shoes? Shut up. My shoes are great. Like, I'm just making something up right now. But you know what I'm talking about. It's funny when people will say that, but they don't actually confess that they've got to deal with this problem at hand. We have in place this thing called an ego. And it's an amazing thing. It can benefit us amazingly. Like, my ego protected the identity of a football player by eating right, training, lifting weights, going to practice on time, learning the playbook. That part was positive. However, it can also be EGO, everyone's greatest obstacle. It can show up in ways that force us to like protect the current identity, which is unable to lead us properly. Does this make sense? Because if I don't confess I got something to work on, I will never give myself permission to improve. It's a big one. And I'm telling you right now, I guarantee I have things to work on. I have a wife. She lets me know. And there's things we all got to work on. Am I perfect? Far from it. Have I done a lot of work? Yes. Will I continue to? Forever. I was actually at a BURCHARD event and I heard Harvey McKay say this. And I love the statement. And what he said was, at the end of the day, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. That has stuck with me beyond all things. I'm like, the moment that I believe I don't need more improvements, the moment I'm going downhill. And I can't be in a place of leadership in the position I am if I haven't continuously led myself. So the first thing is to confess there's almost consistently something to work on. And it's a beautiful thing, to be honest. Like, humans, we are actually, I believe, the happiest while in motion. Like there's something to being in motion, in creation. Think about whenever you have the most like peaceful, separate from anxiety moments. It's when you're building, creating, working with your hands, out with the kids, like, driving a car, maybe you're making something, singing, whatever it is. When you're in motion, there's magic there. There's a creation piece, and you can't get to that level of creation or motion until you've given yourself permission to be like, you know what? This is something that's got to be improved. And it's okay. So I'm giving you the ability to give yourself grace and say, look, I got to work on something. If I don't look in that mirror and go, dude, you suck, man. Like you got to work on these things. I don't get better. Because I think for me, one of the biggest realities that was really hard to accept. And hopefully you do this. If you haven't, you get a chance today to realize that you are the common denominator in all of your problems. Here's what I know a lot of people struggle with. I owned a gym for a long time, trained a lot of individuals, moms, dads, athletes. One of the biggest things people want to figure out how to do is, how do I get in better shape? How do I lose fat? How do I gain muscle? How do I? And today I'm going to give you guys some insights on how to do that from a physiological standpoint. So logic comes in. It's not this, well, my mom's sister's cousin took this pill that she found on the street one day. Like, we're not going to go off in some tangent, okay? And I'm not going to talk about nutrition because that's something you should consult your doctor about or find somebody who can help you there. Here's what I will say about nutrition. Stop eating trash. There you go. Hey, we got a solution, right? If you go into the grocery store, don't go searching in the areas that are the middle of aisles or the middle of the grocery store. Go to the outsides, the upper and the lower. Why? Because the companies that want you to eat the garbage food, they pay a lot of money to be in that middle aisle. So when you go into the store, if you're like, Anthony, I don't know what to eat the things you're not currently eating if you're unhealthy. Ready? We solved that one? Good. Look at it. Moving on. So here's what we're going to talk about. There is this concept around like fat loss that most people don't grasp. And if you actually, what I'm going to teach you, if you understand this, you're going to understand why and see why certain programs and training methodologies have worked for people to get strong, to get to lose weight, all that stuff. So if you've had like these troublesome abilities to lose weight and all that kind of fun stuff, you will understand how the body works right now. So first things first, you have to find something you like to do. I'm going to preface this. When it comes to exercise, the biggest, I think, issue that people run into is they go and find, well, Susan across the street and Nick down the street, well, they got treadmills and he has a kettlebell. I'm going to go buy a kettlebell. I'm going to go buy a treadmill. You know what it becomes? The treadmill becomes a very expensive clothes hanger in your garage. And I guarantee somebody right now has one of these things sitting there. Why? Because you don't like running. So don't go run. And you could go run outside, by the way. So find something you love to do. This comes with trial and error, right? Find an actual exercise you enjoy doing so it's not a chore. It will be hard, but it doesn't need to be a chore. Now, as we progress, I'm going to talk to you about what's called the 3 areas, or the trifecta of fat loss. And this actually it's scientifically proven. This isn't some bro science. I'm not making something up here. You'll understand how it works. So here is the first stage in how our body will actually help us burn calories. Have you guys ever heard of the concept of fast twitch, slow twitch muscle fiber? Anybody heard of this before? Beautiful. There's actually multiple different fiber types. I want to say around 5 or 6, but we just simplify and go fast twitch, slow twitch. The difference is fast twitch muscle fiber, it's going to draw a lot of energy. I can use it for a short amount of time, but I'm a fatigue quick. This is going to be like sprinting, lifting heavy weights, that kind of stuff. Slow twitch says, look, I don't have a lot of power, and I don't take a lot of drain, like I don't pull a lot of calories, but I can go for a long time. This is jogging. This is going for walks. This is movement over any kind of distance that's not at max effort, around like 30 seconds plus. Now, we're not going into energy systems today. Whole different conversation. Just keep in mind fast twitch, slow twitch. So what the science shows is that I can go in and say I did a slow twitch muscle fiber workout that took me an hour to get done, and I burned maybe 500 calories. What happens for us is 2 things here. One is I'm burning calories and it feels great. But then when I'm off the treadmill or I'm off walking, my body stops burning calories. It's a problem. It's good, but like I'm only sore for a little bit. I got a sweat on and I'm good and I stop burning calories, which is, it's not beneficial. There's ways you can fix this, right? But the idea is like I did a whole workout. I want to have some added benefits. This is why what's called fast twitch muscle workouts come into play. And there's multiple kinds of ways to do it. This is anything that's full exertion for you. This could be a sprint. It's lifting weights. This is why CrossFitters do this stuff, high intensity. And here's why. In an hour's workout, if I did it in a slow twitch and I burned 500 calories, follow me with the math, people, I could actually work out 30 minutes, half the time, and burn those 500 calories with fast twitch. So what I'm saying is you can burn the same amount of calories in less time, sometimes more, in fact, in less time. This is why people who are seem to be in crazy good shape, where are they always at? They're in the weight room. Do you know why gyms have cardio theaters with TV screens and cool little stuff? Because they know that if they get you to come hang out there, you're not going to get in shape. So guess where you have to keep going? To the gym. Consistently for years. It's a business. They want to make money. They make beautiful cardio theaters. They tuck the gym rats in the corner, but those people look like they're in the best shape because the workouts that they're doing. Now, you do not have to go do their workouts. Everything has a progression. Again, choose something that resonates with what you like to do. Hire somebody who knows more about it than you know about it, but find someone and find workouts that will allow you to burn more calories in less time. And then here's why the benefit is. When you get done doing a fast twitch exertion kind of workout, you in fact burn calories up to 42 hours past your workout. This is the second stage of the trifecta. Who's ever lifted weights or done some runs and got sore for like 5 days and couldn't walk? Yeah. I got the hands up, right? That's because your body's still recovering. So what happens is my body is still moving. It's still recovering. I'm sleeping. It's still burning calories. So getting off a treadmill, I got to get sweat. I got hot, good for cardio, helps the heart, but it's not going to help me burn fat, not going to help me tone muscle. Right? So the idea is like, if you really want to burn some fat, tone, build some muscle, the idea isn't to do a treadmill. It's to do something that's a little bit heavier weights than you're used to doing at your own relative level. And then the in-between portion, when the body is recovering, you're still burning calories. Now, here's the third piece that few people think about. And here's why individuals who start out with workout routines, they get to that point of like, I've been working out for a month and I got no results. Back to their burritos. Like it didn't work. I'm just going to go and, back and eat some, because we're like, it's not working. And here's why. What happens in the third stage of the trifecta is called a resting metabolic rate, RMR. Right now, every single person on here has a metabolic rate at rest, which means while you're sitting here, you're burning calories. You're burning calories while you sleep. You're burning calories in any way. Just sitting here, your body is churning. It's why your body gets hungry, right? If you just sat and did nothing, you'd at least get hungry. Body's still doing something, right? And here's the unique thing. The more lean muscle mass you have on your body, the higher your resting metabolic rate, the higher your body's rate of burning calories is at rest, which allows you to work out. So if I work out with heavy weights, I'm burning more calories in less time. I'm then having the in-between of recovery, still burning calories. And then once I've recovered and I have that nice, fresh, lean muscle, I'm burning more calories at rest doing nothing. So when I talk about the ramp up that first month, your body hasn't got all 3 tiers ticked in yet. Most people just stop too early. They say, this isn't working. I've done it for 30 days. It's not going on, right? And what happens is because you didn't let the body get past the sore point, get to the point of having lean muscle. So here's what happens. When I got more lean muscle, what can I do? Well, I'm a little bit stronger. I got less body weight. I can do a harder, heavier workout. Maybe I can do some pull-ups now. I can do heavier weights. So I degrade the muscle even more and I have to recover even more. And then I got more muscle and I'm stronger. So then I can actually lift heavier weights and I can do harder workout. See how it works? So the whole role for people that want to build muscle and burn fat, it's not only the nutrition. That's a huge piece because you have to have the right nutrition in order to actually get a good workout in. Actually, I took Brendon's Optimize today, right? You got to have good things in your body. On top of that, you've got to have the ability for yourself to recover in between with the right nutrients. And you have to have the right stuff in your body to actually maintain that lean muscle mass. So the whole trifecta works in this way. And so what you have to do is give your body time to catch up. And then all of a sudden, it'll start shedding fat and building muscle like crazy because it gets past those intro ramp up points. So for example, if anybody's been on my Instagram anytime in the last, like 5 months or something, when I started the beginning of this year, I was a lot bit bigger than I should have been. I didn't have any Brendon, I couldn't go on Brendon's stage, so I didn't have any reason to get in shape. So I was at home just eating up that healthy food. It was so good. Holidays, I didn't have to see anybody. Oh, you guys, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I just ate a bunch of food. And let's give you a little bit of a reference. When I was playing in the NFL, I weighed at most 240 pounds and I had 12% body fat. When I weighed in on December 31st of 2020, I weighed 250 pounds and I was about 27% body fat, 25, 27. Yeah. Yes. I'm not there now. I lost it. All right. So at the beginning of the year, I was like, I got to do something about this. So I started this program and I wanted to lose a bunch of weight. I was like, I got to get the weight back down, but the muscle back up. I know that guy's in there, just like you. The body is in there for yourself. And I knew this in my head, how this works. So the first few weeks, I'm building. I'm doing hard workouts, and I'm dying, by the way. Like I'm not as young as I used to be. My body knows that. And the recovery, I had to eat the right food. Then I had to keep drinking water, and I would be sore. I wasn't going right. In the first probably 30 days, I might have lost maybe 10 pounds, maybe 10 pounds. From the next 30 days to the next 45 days, that window, I lost 27 more pounds. It wasn't in the beginning. It doesn't happen at first. It doesn't happen immediately, right? And I sell this stuff so you get a grasp of like, it takes time. And what's unique about this is like the body will ramp up, and then here's what's crazy. It's actually harder for me right now to gain weight. I've tried to eat some stuff. I actually got down so low that I was like, I got to get back, but my body is churning so fast, the resting metabolic rate, it's hard to get back. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Hey. I got a little clapping. Hey. Who in here has ever like had an issue with boundaries? Any of you ever do that? Yeah, me too. Here's how it happened. At one point in time, I like would have these blocks and segments I had a brick and mortar gym, blocks and segments where I wanted people to come in and like do their thing. But like when I needed to work, I needed to work. And I was really good at getting the work done if nobody bothered me. And what would happen is people would come up, and in my 2-hour window, I do 2 hours of conversation that I shouldn't have been having. It sound familiar? And the next thing you know, the 2 hours is gone, and nothing I wanted to get done got done. And I'm going to walk you through what I call bulletproof boundaries, because we got to have boundaries. And I don't think enough people think this way. So what I'm going to look at is like, what are the things that become issues in my life, and how can I get to the point of creating boundaries to keep the good things in and the bad things out? It's all about having focus and discipline, right? Well, I can't be focused and disciplined if I have no boundaries. Can't get anything done, right? So I'm focused on how do I look at this aspect of setting a boundary so I can stay disciplined. This is the discipline aspect, bulletproof boundaries. So here's what I do. This is what I call the foundation. The word discipline is interesting. It's actually has some ties to disciple and plan. So discipline essentially means, am I following, disciple, the plan? And most of us, we'll do a good job of making that plan, won't we? We'll get vision boards, get the plan. I got a plan over here. I got this whole structure right. And then I get down, I say, okay, from 9 to 10 a.m., I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do this thing in preparation. And then all of a sudden what happens is I don't do it. And usually the reason I don't do it is because I didn't anchor down the foundation, I call it, of why it's got to get done. It's a nice to do, but we don't make it a need to do. And so what I do with people, and I tell you in the very beginning, is like, you got to get to a point where you sit down and say, look, why am I doing this? Like, why does it got to get done right now at this time? Because if not, then it's like, you know what? I can do that tomorrow. I saw this new show popped up on Netflix, and maybe I'll go watch that. And I heard about this cool documentary, or I start scrolling through social media, right? And so what happens is we didn't put a foundation as why in the world must this get done right now? Then what I do, I teach people you got to put in what I call parameters. Now, think of it like this. If I'm on a road and I'm driving somewhere, the parameters are the lines of the road. Now, a lot of people don't set the lines of the road. What can I go into and go out of? Now, if you think about it, it's not fun to work towards a goal and be so militant and rigid that you hate the process of actually going down the path towards the goal. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I want to achieve it, but I don't want to achieve it and like have to like not enjoy my life. Like I want to smell the roses. I want to go have a beer, hang out with the girls, take a trip, catch a movie if I want to. It's just, I want to be able to enjoy it. So what I tell people is you actually have to set parameters that feel good to you. Not what somebody says, not what you read on the internet, not what your idol and hero person said. What feel like good parameters to you, right? So just so you know, my parameters for life are after about the time of 3:34, like, don't message me because I'm probably not going to message you back. I'm a family guy. I am in what I call season of dad right now. So I got a 16-year-old, I got 11-year-old twins, and I got a wife, and we have a family, and I love my family, and that's the core of my humanity. And so whenever I look at my parameters, like I know what I'm doing and why. So, but at the same time, like I may not work at the level of somebody who's like, you know what, I get up at 6 and I'm working until like, 10, and then I'm going straight till 8 p.m. That's great. It's just not going to work for me. And I'm not going to feel bad, which you shouldn't feel bad simply because you're not doing what somebody else is doing. So you have to actually set your own parameters of what the parameters are that you will stay in, the lanes. I don't go here. I don't go here. I stay straight in this lane. Then we have number 3 is what I call awareness. Now, this is big. Awareness is essentially, as you're going through your life, are you presently aware in the moments of when situations are coming up? So you ever heard of the thing that hindsight's 2020, right? Like, oh man, I wish I would have thought about this back then, right? People don't presently become aware. So the parameters they set, they don't actually look at them. They're just, it's like driving down that road. I have my parameters. And what happens is I'm looking at my radio or I'm texting. And what happens? We do this, we crash. So what I tell people is in the moments of when you're living your life and doing your stuff, the awareness piece is essentially you want to go back and have times or moments where you actually check. This is time audits throughout the day. This is like every once in a while, like set an alarm on your phone. I've done this where I'm like, I set an alarm so it goes off to remind me to check what I'm doing. And I kid you not, it'll catch me in the middle of scrolling through Facebook when I'm supposed to be writing emails. I'm like, okay. So I go and I got a little egg timer. I'm dead serious. I might have showed this in the past. I have like an egg timer that I use specifically for this. It just goes on my desk and I spin it and I put it down and I go, here, all right, this is my thing and my awareness. So what I'm doing is you should be trying to be presently aware of, are you within your parameters? Because when it comes to being disciplined, if you can't stay in that lane, which thing about discipline is staying consistent to the plan over time. If you aren't able to be presently aware, you don't get that thing done. And then you feel crappy because I didn't get that thing done. And then the progress isn't made. And I got to make excuses to other people or to myself. I fall out of integrity internally. I start thinking, man, I don't know if it's for me. I can't even get my stuff done. You're right. It's a downward spiral. And all you have to do is not scroll on social media or not go out and hang out, like whatever it might be. Awareness is a big piece. So you have to be aware of what are the things going on. Then comes to a big one. And this is the one that I think we got to spend some time on right now. It's called triggers. Now, in life, there are certain things that are triggers that trigger the awareness. So it's not just a matter of hoping and setting an alarm for it all the time. You can actually have triggers in life that tell you like, hey, what's really going on? Like I got, some idea of like realistically, here's what's going on. And so what you should do in this moment, if you get time or like at some point after this, I want you to sit down and think about in my own life, what are the typical triggers that I experience that throw me off? So we have triggers, things that follow in. So for your own life, as people keep doing this, what you think about is, does your wife come in and bother you? Do your kids come in? Does your phone keep ringing, right? And what you do is you plan in moments where you have to be focused, how to adapt and honestly adjust to the triggers that are constantly popping up in your life. And it's going to be unique to you, obviously, completely unique, right? And so when I have this unique piece, I can actually weave in like, how am I going to do what I got to do in this moment to address the trigger? And the trigger is the thing we're going to talk about. It goes to the last piece, which is called willpower. Now, the willpower is a piece that I think a lot of people really fail in. And this is the one thing that you get this right, it's a game changer. So let's be honest. If you think about it, there's times you meet people or people in your life and, they say, hey, you want to go hang out somewhere? Or your husband's like, hey, do you want to go watch a movie? Somebody says, hey, do you want to go do this thing? And because it's a good lead into training people, because in the past, you've always been like, yeah, no, count me in. I'll go do that thing. Right? What they do is they ask you and then you say, no, I can't. So what do they say? Oh, come on. Right? And you go, no, I really can't. Nah, come on. Okay. And then you often go do it. You have now trained them that all they got to do is ask you about 2 times. And sure enough, you're off. Right? So what I found is like, all right, well, how can I manage this? And how can I do what's necessary? I must have in the moment willpower. Because what happens is if all of a sudden they ask me one time and I do it, they're going to ask me one time and I'm going to do it. If the next time they ask me and I do it twice, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, cool, they're going to do it. They're going to do the same thing twice. But listen, if I say no and they ask, you sure you want to go? I say no. Come on, you want to go? I say no. Come on, no. All right, here's want to go. They leave me alone. Took them 4 times. My willpower held up. Then for my willpower, I was able to press off and stay disciplined on what I had to get done, right? Then what happens is they come up again. Hey, you want to watch this TV show? No, I can't do it. You want to watch TV show? No. Okay, whatever. Twice. Ooh, twice, right? Then what happens in the future if they come ask, hey, do you want to go down and catch the show? I don't want to do it. Okay, off and going. It's easy. But the thing is, a lot of people, they break it far too fast because they don't have a foundation. There's no parameter of what they can and can't do. They're not able to be presently aware of what should take place. They don't have any triggers in place that they've planned for. Because, for example, if you have children, my trigger in my life is like, if they ask a question, I legitimately, the first thing I say is no. Like, hey, Dad, can I? No. Okay, what do you want? So I've already been in the realm of no. And if I want to say yes, I can change it. I quite literally am like, nope. That's my trigger for their asking of questions. Now, obviously, I will say yes. I'm like, what do you want? They just know, but like I'm already in a space of no. So if it's a no, I'm like, I already said no. And they're like, all right. They move on. They get it, right? But I have a trigger. I have a response, and I know it in advance before I get to it. So for you, your trigger may not be people. It might be the notification on your computer when it pops up. It could be an email that comes in. What is my triggered response to stay disciplined in this bucket of time I have to get something done? And then do I have the willpower to hold the way I got to hold? I'm telling you, the difference between those who are good and great is not the information. It's who's able to do what they have to do with that information. Today, we're going to talk about the way that I look at mindset and resilience. So here's the big thing. Our mindset is included within who we are and our identity. Now, I'm going to extract for you guys something that I talk and walk through called the Slower Go Identity Grid. And this Slower Go Grid's going to let you see in a simple way, like where you stand right now. Some of you might have heard it before. Maybe you've taken the quiz. Maybe you've not. And hopefully you haven't all heard of it, because that'd be kind of like, oh, I'm going to do the same thing. But I promise, even if you have, I'll give you a little bit more depth to it. So here's what I want you to grasp. We all have the clear understanding of what a mindset is. However, sometimes we may not understand the inner workings of it or who we are with it. And so we're going to break this down today. I'm going to show you how you are essentially one of 4 different kinds of identities harboring certain mindsets. Now, as I tell you this, I want you to grasp, it doesn't really mean that if you see one that's like not perfect, you say like, oh, it sounds like me. It's not the end of the world. That's the beautiful part about who we are. We can always adjust and grow and change, right? We have neuroplasticity in our brains. We can learn new things. Yes, you can teach an old dog new tricks, no matter what they say. There's a Netflix show I saw about it, just so you know, like really, you can actually teach an old dog new tricks. But we're going to actually teach you guys some cool things. So let's get into this without me talking about it all day. We're going to go over this. Now, in our lives, we always have these different aspects of opportunity and opposition. And to be quite honest, they have this intersection point. They always meet each other, if you think about it. There's always this opportunity of something. There's always like but it ain't perfect, right? And I find that as we go through things, we're always trying to figure out like, okay, where do we stand? What do we do? And how do we make the next moments of our lives better? However, how we show up in those moments, those defining moments, those will determine how the next moments are better or not. And so now I'm going to talk you through 4 different types of mental framings and identities that have mindsets to them, right? Of how I think. And I want you to figure out which one you are. So the first one we're going to talk about is a dreamer. Now, think about opportunity and opposition. Now, if I'm a person that when opportunity comes to pass and I sit there and I look at it and I go, oh, it'd be amazing to chase the opportunity, but I go, oh, I don't know if I should, and maybe I can, and I stew on it for too long. What happens opportunity? It leaves. When I was in college, my college coach, he says, hey, if our opportunity comes knocking at your door, you better open the door, pull him inside, sit him down, get him dinner, make him stay a while. Because if he leaves, we don't know when he's coming back around again. And so the idea is like when opportunity comes, how do you handle it? And some people, we get so apprehensive, we get so processing, we get to the point of just paralyzation by overanalyzation that we don't take opportunity and actually capitalize on it. And at the same time, these same people, they're not really good in opposition. Like when something pops up and rears its head, we question ourselves. My mindset goes, I don't know if I can, if I'm capable, if I'm smart enough. And so what ends up happening is I go, oh, I don't know. And then I end up moving myself back. I find ways to reverse my path. I will make excuses. I will procrastinate. I'll call myself a perfectionist. I'll say, I'm a perfectionist. No, you're just scared of putting it out there. Let's be honest, right? There's this aspect of like the opposition. It makes me feel scared. So what do? I'm always telling people about my dreams. I'm dreaming about this. I'm going to do this. I can do this. I can create this. And an opportunity comes. They go, why didn't you take advantage of it? Oh, well, this happened and I didn't have enough time and I was too busy, or, I didn't know much about it, or we make excuses. And no matter what the excuse, good or bad, it still is an excuse that's stopping you from getting what you want. So that's the first one, a dreamer, someone who doesn't go into the space of taking on opportunity because they're fearful, and those who are not good at tackling opposition. Now, the next person is called a dabbler. A dabbler is someone that says, look, when an opportunity comes up, I'm taking it. Yeah, put me in, coach. Buy all the Dogecoin and the different Bitcoin thing. I'm buying all of it. Let me go do it, right? And then maybe it's not that, but maybe it's opportunities that come rise and they go after them full speed. They invest in these things. They buy these things. They go and start these processes. They do stuff. But here's what happens. The moment opposition comes, they shut down. It's too hard. I don't know how to do this. I'm a little bit fearful. I'm scared. And what I do is I pull myself away. I may have started down that path. The moment it got hard, I stopped my progress and I stayed stagnant or went backwards. This happens for a lot of people. They try some, I want to do live streams and I want to do webinars and I want to write this book. And then I go, it's opportunity to do something. And all of a sudden it gets hard. And I go, oh, I don't want to do this. I pull away. And these are what we call the dabblers or shiny object people. Sound familiar? A little bit, maybe. You might even be able to say, that sounds like me. I try things a lot. I'm excited about new things. And people are like, they're around my life. They'll maybe consistently see I'm always excited about something new. Every week it's something new with you, Karen and Susan and Nick and Sean and Sherry. It's always something new with you. Yeah, it is something new because you're a dabbler. Now, again, not the end of the world, but at least maybe you know who you are. And we'll talk about how to be able to make these shifts quickly, the mindset and the identity. The next one, the defender. Now, they, in the past, have taken some opportunities because we don't take no opportunities, right? We have taken some opportunities. And then what happens is I step forward and I go, look, I'm going to have some success. I've had some success and I'm really good at tackling opposition. If it rears its head, I'm shutting it down. I'm going to knock it out. I got this covered. However, if a new opportunity comes to pass, I'm very, very apprehensive because it could take away from my current success. This is the undefeated boxer, the person who's always had a great business, never lost a client. These people, they will not take opportunity because what if it sullies up what I've got? And so what they do is they live a stagnant, boxed-in life. BRENDON would call it partly the caged life, right? Because now what happens is I've had this success and I don't want any of this to go away. So I don't want anything to come in and possibly mess this up or make me look bad. So I don't want to be embarrassed. So I don't take advantage of new opportunities. But if you, lo and behold, if you ever decide to take away what I already got, I'm fighting you for it. Don't you dare say I'm not this or not this or not this. I'll fight to hold my space, but I won't fight for more. Right? There's a difference, there's a separation. And so that's a defender. They hold their ground, they stay their pace, and they watch life, unfortunately, pass them by. And it sucks. I know people like this. They're like, no, I got this. I don't want to do anything. I'm like, oh, but you could have done this, and I'm happy. Yeah, but there's always a level of happy above the level you're at now if you choose to seek opportunities. Now, the fourth one, which is the one that I have a belief that a fair majority of you 100% have to have a piece of at times. And just keep in mind, we have multiple identities and mindsets that sit in different spaces. So if you happen to be one of these, you can be like, hey, I'm a dabbler. You may not be a dabbler everywhere. You might be a dabbler in work. You might be a defender in relationship. I would hope that you are. Because a defender in relationship means you're great in the one you're at. You don't want to seek more opportunities. You know what I mean? Like that's not a good thing. Don't do that. But you might also be a dreamer in the aspect of hobbies. Like, I want to go be a skydiving coach. No, I don't. But that could be a dreaming idea, right? You see what I'm saying? Multiple identities. So I believe in your personal growth, a lot of you guys fit into this space right here. It's called a doer. So a doer is someone that says, look, I love opportunity. I seek it out. I want to find out what's new. I want to read the books. I want to get into the programs. I want to join GrowthDay. I want to get these. I want to do it all. I want to try it all. And here's why. Because you know that if you chase down an opportunity, inevitably there will be opposition. But within the opposition, you have the ability and you know you'll take it on. You'll go fight hard. So you're like, I'm taking it on because I know if I go in this opportunity, I'm going to keep going because I handle opposition well. And then you know that if you face opposition, it's okay because here's the truth. What high performers and GrowthDayers, I know you guys know this. If you are a person that can handle opposition, you know that opposition, when overcome, creates new opportunities. Every time. I don't care who you are, but if you have a problem and you solve it, you have a new set of tools, which means a new opportunity has placed itself in your life. It's literally how it all, I tell people that when you're in the realm of like what I do, coaching, my job is to create new problems for you. What do you mean, Anthony? Well, if I solve the problem and help you be happier, more joyous, maybe make some more money, well, now you have a new problem of, okay, what do I do with my taxes? What do I buy? What do I invest? You know what I'm saying? It is new problems. Interesting way to look at it. But those who are doers, they will go after opportunity or go after opposition because they know it actually benefits synergistically. Now, there's different levels of doers. In my experience, We don't like hanging out with dreamers. I don't want to know what you're going to do. I want to know what you've done. And it's not a bad thing at the end of the world, but just be aware of this. I want to talk to you today about how we can find meaning and fulfillment, but also it's geared around this let's finish strong mentality. But I had a moment to think about this. And the last like 5 or 6 days, I do this when I prepare for you guys. I sit back and I think about like, what do I want my heart to say? I don't think about how to teach. I'm like, what do I want my heart to say? What I want to kind of have transmute into your world. And I sat with this thought and I said, if we're going to talk about meaning and fulfillment, I would like to start with first, like, well, why do we not have it sometimes? What might rob us of it? Here's what I want to talk about that I think there's like 3 things that I've found that are basic, but I think rob us of this experience. And one to begin with is false anchors. Now, I talk about identity, and I believe we have identity anchors, things that anchor us to who we are, how we show up, what we do. And I believe that sometimes we rob ourselves of great meaning because we have the wrong or false anchors, which comes from us looking at this world and going, look, man, I didn't achieve what she achieved. I didn't get done what he got done. And I'm not where they're at. And I expected to be so much farther along. And so I have this anchor that's tied to this one thing. But because I don't have that thing, I don't feel like I have meaning. I don't feel like I'm fulfilled because I don't feel like the work I did panned out, we'll call it. And I think it's because we're sometimes placing our energy and our anchor in the wrong anchors. Here's an example. There are areas of our life where like we go into something thinking we must do it the way so-and-so did it. If we do it the way they did, I'll get the return. I found this out early on that it doesn't work that way. So when I first started this industry in this world, I want to come speak and share and pour my heart out. And I found other people that were doing things. And I was like, man, I'm enamored by this. I love this. I'm going to do what they do. And so what happened is I would do a bunch of like adjustments to who Anthony was to fit the box of the rough and rugged former NFL guy, like, that kind of guy. And then I see BRENDON, he's like happy, and I'm right. And just these things I would try to do them and they wouldn't fit. Now they fit for those people because they are those people, but my anchor at the time was tied to doing things the way they did them. And because of this false anchor, I had a poor perspective of self. I felt like the work I was doing wasn't meaningful. I felt like I wasn't fulfilled because I wasn't getting the return. And it took me a moment to sit back and go, look, I can't be them, but I could do me real good. How do I figure out how to do me? And that was one of the things that was a really big piece for me to uncover that I'm teaching you right now is you have to take a look at your life and say, let me look and see what doesn't seem to fit. What feels like a shoe on the wrong foot? What is not really settling in the right way? And this is something where you have to do the deep work on your own and sit there and go, what have I been trying that I might have to pull the ego back and go, I shouldn't have been doing that. I shouldn't have spent time there. It's not my thing. And when you give yourself this grace and this permission to not be perfect, you find this kind of like this ease, like this, I feel a little bit lighter. And that lightness helps you progress to the next stage. Now, number 2, I think we have sometimes poor perspectives on things. This again ties to the area of us having this, I think, comparison issue. So there are perspectives that we will sometimes lead in with. And what we're doing is looking back at this year. We're looking back at the year going, what did I accomplish? What did I get done? Some things I'm sure were amazing. Some things not so great. Myself, I have these things also. I'm human. But the idea is when I sit back and I go, where did I not go? What did I not accomplish? What did I not achieve? I don't give it the perspective of I'm not good enough. And here's a reason why you have to. And it's logic, but we don't live in this logical space sometimes. What I found is we sometimes, again, have a perspective of where we should be based on things that we might know over somebody else, or we might have experience over somebody else, or I've earned this because I put the work in this area. But there is so much that you never see. There's so many things that are going on around somebody else's life and their experience that you may not know. A mentor they might have that they don't tell anybody about. An experience they had that gives them some knowledge in an area that nobody else knows about. And so what we're doing is giving a poor perspective on an outcome based on a comparison to somebody else. So again, this takes us and robs us of this fulfillment, this meaning of the energy we are putting forth towards something simply because we have given something a poor perspective. And the third one, this is going to be one to poke, and honestly, it's going to be one to measure against the people in your life. I have a lot of humans in my life. I love my humans. Brent's one of my humans. I have amazing family that are my humans. I have great friends. Like I have these amazing people. However, every year I seem to find that I start a new year with less friends. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this in any way, but there's a reason why this happens at the end of the year. I don't know if you guys do this, but we get prepared if you have a business for like financials and taxes. And I take a look and go, what expenditures did I make that I didn't need to make? I'm looking at the financial aspect. And then I take a look at my life and go, where was I giving more energy? Where were there more withdrawals than deposits into my life? And I'm talking about actual people. Where are people in your life showing up and withdrawing more than they're depositing? Because what happens is if we feel that drain, that pull from us, and we don't get filled back up, we start feeling less than because this person doesn't respect us. And then what happens is that energy, we live from it. And so I found that for me, there are times when I step back and I go, yeah, this person withdrew a lot from my life and they didn't deposit very much. And while I love them, I'm going to do that love from a distance this year. And it's a decision you actually have to make, because doing this gives you a little bit of a pride for self. You feel better and you give yourself an opportunity to get more fulfilled, because this transaction you're making when you're here in this box and someone's withdrawing and depositing, you are diminishing your ability to be in another area of relationship that's depositing and withdrawing at an equal level. So this area is blocking this one. So it allows you to have the space to get more of those deposits into your life in an amazing area. So that's what I found, some of the reasons that we get robbed. And then I now want to talk about the areas that we get our meaning and fulfillment. And we're all different. This is the good thing about life. We are all different. There's beauty in the difference. That's why, like on Thanksgiving, I don't stack my plate with just turkey. I have turkey and I have the mashed potatoes and I have gravy and I have the stuffing. I don't do cranberry sauce. It's just weird. I don't do that. But I do sweet potatoes. Oh, I love sweet potatoes. But there's a plethora of different colors and mixtures. And so that difference is amazing. And so when I look at these things, I go, well, if I'm looking at meaning, where am I getting my meaning from? Where am I having these differences tie into my life in a great way? And I believe that sometimes we tie our meaning and fulfillment to the wrong areas. And I think what we have to look at is, you have to, in a certain space of looking at this stage of getting to your meaning, is where are you having the right people and achievements tied to your personal meaning? Now, people and achievements are big. I think that people are the things that make life amazing, and achievements are great because you get to share them with the people that make life amazing. And I know you have goals and aspirations. That's why you're here, growing yourself to reach that next level, to access whatever tier is meant for you past this point here. But the idea is, I want you to think about is, where are you actually garnering and getting your meaning and your fulfillment, in a sense of, what is the thing giving you feedback that makes you go, yes, I did it right. I feel great. Now, while I talked about removing other people, right? We talked about having someone in your life that's withdrawing. Where do I put people in? How do I find the right people that give me a sense of fulfillment and meaning? And if it's not about getting new people, it's about taking a look at the people already in your life and saying, how do I make a better relationship here? Like, how do you reconnect and rekindle a love that maybe is kind of there, but it's not sparked on fire? How do you find better communities to be part of, like GrowthDay, and really invest in the community and energy and engagement, sharing with other people in the world, to bolster the human connections you have, right? How do we actually find that meaning? Because for me, my meaning, my fulfillment comes from my family and the people I choose to call family. This morning I got up and I got about an hour before my wife, and I was doing work, and then she came down and her back's been bugging her. She runs track. And so I spent about 30 minutes before getting dressed to come hang out with you guys, doing like a whole ultrasound on her back and sticking little sticky pads on. Like, I find fulfillment in doing that for my relationship. I find meaning in my wife's life for doing this. You see what I'm saying? The people you pour in. Now, the other part of it is achievements. When we do something and we have this outcome on the back end of our actions, we will find a meaning from the achievement or lack thereof. So if I put effort and energy into something, I get that outcome. I go, oh, look at me. I won a game. I won a Super Bowl. I got that client. I built the business. Right? But for some reason, I put the energy and effort in, and I don't have that. What I do is I go, oh man, this means I'm not that great. This means maybe I'm not that. And here's what I want to give as a thought. And I love this. Someone shared it with me years ago. And here's a thought that has garnered so much freedom for me. No moment has any meaning except the meaning we place upon it. Repeat this, because this one's helped me immensely. No moment has any meaning except the meaning we place upon it. So what I have found is when I place the meaning of may help my wife, that meaning is like, I show up. I mean a lot to her life. But if something goes off and goes wrong, like yesterday, nobody knows this, I had 4 disturbingly unsettling situations pop up, and I'm still dealing with them. But I gave it a different meaning. I said, you know what? These are Cadillac problems. I get to enjoy life still. Like, I get to come hang out with you. It can't be all that bad. I don't let that trickle in and give it a different meaning. that tears me down. So when you look at the achievements you have and something doesn't go right, don't give it the meaning that drags your soul out. Give it the meaning of, you know what? It's strengthening me. It's teaching me something as a lesson I need to have that's going to propel me to the next stage or give me an asset of a skill set to apply at this next level thing that I don't even know is coming just yet. So providing a different meaning is very, very big when it comes to this.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.